The new head of OFSTED has said that British values should be at the very heart of the school curriculum. Amanda Spielman pointed out that in the UK, some children are being brought up in an environment that is actively hostile to some of these values, and the education system has a vital role in teaching and upholding them. Amanda, I couldn't agree with you more. Schools should absolutely be teaching our kids British values, and while they're at it, they should also be teaching them stuff which will actually be useful to them in real life. Money management, emotional resilience, I could go on forever. With Brexit hopefully happening, it's a great time to look at what and how we teach our kids, and how indeed we are preparing them for this brave new world.
Define a British value.
Oh, I can define a few of them, in fact, if you would like me to. And actually, before we do this, I've given you all a small whiteboard.
Yes.
And before I tell you what I think British values are, I'm going to ask you to write one word that you think sums up British values. I'm going to give you...
As prescribed by the government or me, Nick
you,
Ferrari?
as people, you tell me one word.
Our own.
One
yeah.
word.
One word. Yeah,
10 seconds, please. Go. Right, are we ready? This is mine.
Oh.
Hey.
What's yours?
Me and Nick. Do you know what?
Oh,
People talk about me and you, Nick, and we are so aligned.
Well, so Carol. Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
That's the most
and you-
unlikely
and-
partnership in history.
And you and Carol are aligned as well. So in answer to your question, what are British values? So these are them as defined by Ofsted.
Okay.
We've got democracy, the rule of law, individual liberty, mutual respect, and tolerance of those with different faiths and beliefs.
OK. Thank you for that. You say at the very heart. Can I put it to you that as we are in a situation now where, and it has been addressed, but it is still happening, we are falling down what are known as the PISA league tables, which are the global league attainment tables of how a country fares in key subjects such as maths and writing and spelling and various others. And sadly, and it's not a fault of the teachers at all, I'm sure they're giving it a damn good shift, sadly we continue to fall with reading and arithmetic skills. Mm-hmm. I would argue it's far more important. These sort of things can come. I mean, emotional resilience. Money management might not be a bad idea because we're the country that teaches children nothing about money management and then plunges them in debt the minute they decide to go to university and then wonder why on earth they can't carry on. So once we start getting that right and we don't have a situation where a child comes out of a school, a young person comes out of school and goes and works in a coffee shop or in a bar and actually can't work out change from a fiver for a round of drinks costing £4.25 without a computer or that's what we need to address before emotional resilience or whatever it might be.
Well, so let me come back to that. So first and foremost, I don't think they're mutually exclusive. So if I focus on just the British values, so of course you can be teaching people respect and all of those kind of things whilst you're teaching any other subject. They're not mutually exclusive. When I put in there things like emotional resilience, I think that is incredibly important.
How do you teach it?
Well, in a variety of ways. So, for example, what I'm trying to prevent is, at the moment, you've got so many mental health issues. You've got so many mental health issues at the moment. And actually, if you taught children about how to be stronger, what are natural emotions, how you can deal with them, and you can... I'm not a teacher, thank the Lord for the young people today.
These children can't add up.
But they're not mutually exclusive things,
You're
Nick.
so old school, Nick.
They're not.
And that's why you love me.
Listen. I completely agree with Michelle on this.
Thank you, Afua.
I think that it's not good enough to churn out children who perform well academically, although that is essential and we're not doing it. And that is something we need to work out where we're going wrong, because we have these over-tested, stressed-out kids and we're still not performing well. But at the same time, none of us want children who aren't rounded beings, who can't cope with their emotions.
That's your job as a parent.
Yes, but there's something that we need to do as a society to send a message that well-being is important.
Poor teachers, what more do you want to have them do?
We're not in the era of the stiff upper lip anymore. I agree. I agree that it's teachers are being asked to do a lot now.
Too much.
But on the British values thing, I do have an issue with the whole British values debate. Not because I have any problem with our kids learning British values. I think it would be great. The reason I chose integrity as my value is because I think there's so much hypocrisy in the way we talk about British values. For example, we have a foreign secretary who has written openly racist articles and this week made a joke about clearing bodies from the street in Libya. Now, how can we teach children in schools about how to behave fairly and with tolerance and decency when our leaders behave like that. We're sending so many mixed messages. And the second issue I have with British values is that I can't help but feeling it's something that we go and preach to kids, especially in Muslim schools, when actually I think we all as a nation have some work to do on working out what we stand for.
But wouldn't you agree, one of our failures as a society, where we've had a large number of people coming from different cultures all around the world, is to actually explain what our culture is about.
That's because we're confused ourselves.
Yes, no, it is what we are, but we could quite quickly come up with the 5 or 6 things that we say, this is what our culture is about. And I have no problem teaching that. I do disagree with you, Nick, though, about the breadth of the thing. One of the great problems of that we're making for ourselves is that we are incredibly successful in the creative industries, and yet we are ruling out all sorts of art subjects or making it much more difficult. And that's where they come from. That's what we need. And the idea that we only teach kids to read and write, I think, is completely...
You've got to have that to move on.
You've got to start.
That's a core skill.
The thing in schools, I mean, I think there's no shame in teaching kids things that are quintessentially English, like the monarchy, like the church, like history. There was a piece in the papers last week saying that they're going to stop teaching kids history. And you're looking at us like this is a really old-fashioned thing to teach. Why is it old-fashioned to teach kids about where this country has come from?
I think it's crucially important to teach history. I wish we taught more of it and in a more honest way. No, I mean, one of my issues is that we have a state policy of segregating children by faith. How's that compatible with
This is the woman who wanted to bring down Nelson's column.
You're forgetting the Trojan horse scandal here. We didn't put those kids there. A lot of Muslims put their kids in those schools there, and they were taught to hate Britons. They were given literature, Islamic literature, that is banned in this country, and they were taught that boys and girls were segregated. We had nothing to do with that. They were schools run by Muslims for Muslims.
You know, there are Catholic schools that have similarly intolerant messages. To me, if you segregate children and Jewish schools that have been found to violate
Catholic schools that teach boys that women are trash and that they're second-class citizens. Do we have schools like that?
Surely what we should have done many years ago is do what they did in America, which say we are going to separate basically the state and the religion, and your religion is irrelevant to the school. And actually, Tony Blair, because he was a devout Catholic, I'm afraid, encouraged more religious schools in this country, and actually the Labour Party should have done exactly the opposite.
And that's what I mean when I say I think we are confused about what our values are, because we support tolerance, as you've all said, and then we
segregate.
Catholic
school to those schools that were involved in the Trojan horse scandal. How can
have you looked into what some Catholic schools have been teaching, Carol?
I went to a Catholic school.
Maybe that's a debate.
I'm a Catholic,
and there are many Muslim schools. There are many Muslim schools that don't violate British values as well.
The only thing that they were taught about religion was the catechism. You know, who is God? Why did God make you? That was we were not taught that other religions were bad. We were not taught that other races or peoples were bad.
A debate for another time.